Hey everybody, my name is Chauncey and welcome to another episode of Accidental Isolation, where I like to bring on a guest to talk about a moment in their life where unintentionally they found themselves alone, whether that be mentally, physically, or emotionally. This podcast is to give listeners an opportunity to see how common it is for someone to go through accidental isolation. Hopefully they'll be able to gather some tools to put in their toolbox about how to get through this isolation. Today we got former Mr. Football, Wake Forest standout, undrafted free agent signing to the LA Rams. After that, he did a stint with the XFL with the New York Guardians. From there, he got traveled all the way up to Toronto with the Argonauts. After that, he came down to San Antonio and played for the Blues. And now he's a standout for the Philadelphia Stars, running back Matthew Colburn. Appreciate it, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Blessed to be here, man.
Appreciate it, man. I just want to thank you for giving me your time today. Talk about your story a little bit, and hopefully some of the audience will be able to learn something from you, man. Tell us a little bit about your family growing up. Where you're from. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm from Irmo, South Carolina. I'm the eldest of six. Obviously, football has always been a big part of my life. I started playing when I was like 5 years old, flag football, all the way up to, Pee Wee and Pop Warner, middle school, high school, college, all that stuff. I'm thankful to have, both of my parents, they got gray head on their shoulders. And, I'm just really blessed and really fortunate to still be able to do, what I love to do, and that's play football to this day.
Nah, man, that's what's up. Appreciate it, man. Now y'all know a little bit about Matt, so we're going to go ahead and jump into it. So me and you, we spoke beforehand, and, I gave you the definition of accidental isolation. So go ahead and tell us, what that looked like for you.
Yeah, so, I was in a period of accidental isolation. This was last year, 2021, summer 2021, when I was up in Toronto. I had just got signed with CFL. I was super elated, super lit, super, just ready to play some professional football, right?
Yeah, that's all we dreamed of, right?
Yeah, like being a little kid, playing ball. Like that's all you ever want to do is just, make some money playing some ball, right? Whether it be, obviously everybody want to play in the NFL, but some people gotta go through different paths, different journeys to get there. So I was ready, man. I was ready to attack it. Full head of steam. I had just had a good season with the Blues down in San Antonio, and Toronto had signed me, and I was super ready. But the third day of camp, I pulled my groin, and they ended up cutting me, like I think a week after, and. It's crazy because, like, in Canada, what they'll do, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll cut you with intentions to, like, keep you around. Mm-hmm. So they was like, we're going to cut you, but we want you to stay here, because when you get healthy, we want to sign you back. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, great. I guess, camp ended, right? Everybody's going where they're going, and I just say, I'm going to just get an Airbnb up here and do my rehab up here.
So, real quick, you got hurt. Mm-hmm. Did they cut you while you were hurt?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So then they cut you, but then they kind of told you on the side, like, hey, stay around a little bit.
Yeah.
Why don't you leave? Because whenever you get hit. Okay. All
right. So they cut me like the first or second week of camp. Mm-hmm. I think it might have been it was like 10 days in the camp. They cut me, and then they kept me around, like had me, going to meetings and all this stuff. And I mean, I wasn't really lifting like that because I had pulled my groin pretty bad, but. Getting treatment, all this good stuff. And then once they broke for camp, I had made a decision to, I'm going to just stay up here, get Airbnb because, once I get healthy, they're going to sign me back. I'm going to be good. Like, I'm not
optimistic about it.
Yeah. Like I say, I'll get this Airbnb and I'll make all that money back because I'm going to get healthy and I'm going to be playing ball. So it's going to work out. So, yeah, that's where the accidental isolation has started. Because I never intended to be in that position. It just kind of happened, when nature calls and, when life, kind of does this, right? Yeah. You just kind of have to respond to it. So that's what I did accordingly. And I was commuting back and forth, 45 minutes, getting treatment, rehab every day.
Okay. And so you said you mentioned you had your car. How'd you quick? I just want to know, like, how'd you get your car up there?
So my family had just moved to Cleveland, and I was in Atlanta at the time at my apartment in Atlanta. And before I had went to Toronto, I said, you know, well, shoot, I might as well just bring my car up there. I'm gonna just drive up to Cleveland, visit my family for a little bit, you know, check out the new house. And I mean, Cleveland.
Yeah, how far is that?
Only like 4 hours from Toronto.
Oh, that's okay. That's real
so
close.
So I said, you know, I might as well just drive up there, and
the
whole time my family they can come see me play.
Exactly,
only 4 hours away.
Okay. Yeah, so go ahead and tell us, you know, what you experienced, you know, when you was going through this isolation up there in Toronto by yourself and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was a crazy time of my life. You know, just being a whole new city, new country, you know, just completely foreign, right? And I'm just navigating everyday life like I've been there before, you know, whether it be going out to eat or, you know, getting groceries or doing this, that, and the third. And, you know, Canada is just, you got to go up there to really, like, understand. Like, it's just so much slower compared to down here, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I mean, I was by myself in this Airbnb, and I was getting treatment, rehab, like 30 minutes away. And I would just come home and, you know, do my music and my design. You know, those are my biggest passions right there. Ever since I was young, you know, I've always been. My mom told me her earliest memory of me singing was when I was 2 years old, and you know, I was in choir, all that stuff, and started recording in high school, and then got more serious. You know, once I got to college, and then really after college, once I had got my own studio, you know, learned how to produce and engineer. Started playing the guitar. COVID, really started to play the guitar. Really just taught myself how to play the guitar, practicing like 3 hours a day. And now I would consider myself an intermediate player. Like I could definitely
that's good.
Yeah, like I could do a show like right now. That was my plan in the meantime, right? You know, get healthy and then come home and really attack this music, really attack this design, because leading into Toronto, you know, me and my boy Dejan, we had already been, you know, trying to, you know, conjure up a plan to really take the music and the design to the next level. We have a brand that we have been building for a couple years. It's called Louve Amour.
Okay.
And basically, what Louve Amour, basically what that means is, you know, loving the game of life, right? Like everything that comes with it. You know, really taking it upon yourself to roll the dice, right? And put all your chips on the table, put everything, like being willing to risk everything, knowing that if you lose it, like you're gonna get it back.
Always.
Yeah.
Life is a cycle, man. So everything in it is a cycle. I believe is that whether that's money, dreams, just anything, like you gotta be able to take risks, because without risk, there's no reward.
There's no reward, and without that, I mean, life is just boring. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I was up in Toronto, and it was just, like I was telling you, it was just such a cyclical, like, routine thing. Like, wake up and go to treatment and, you know, bust my ass for a couple hours and then come back and, you know, do music and do design. And
it just kind of got repetitive.
It just got so repetitive. And, like, you know, just being in a foreign country. Like I told you, I'm a very, like, you know, I'm a social person, but at the same time, like, I don't really mess with people like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
You're like a social, anti-social person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it take a while to get loose, but once you're there, you definitely,
exactly.
You can talk to anybody.
Exactly. So I was really I say, you know what, I'm going to just stay to myself. You know, I'm going to stick to this, you know, this rehab, this treatment. You know, I'm going to stick to this music, stick to this design, and really just, you know, really to see what happens. But I told myself, I was like, bro, like, everything's going to be good. Like, you're going to be healthy, and they're going to sign you back. You're going to be playing ball.
So you mentioned that, you know, one of the things you said you was gonna do is stick to myself, grind, put my head down. But like one thing I'm big on, and I kind of preach to be big on, is like community, because it's hard to go far by yourself. So while you was going through this, you mentioned your friend, and you know, you guys, you know, produce together, you make clothing brands together, and you mentioned your family being close together. Did they know you were going through this stage in life? Could they tell by the tone of your voice? Because like I said, I know my mom. I call her 1 minute, you know, 2 seconds on the phone, what's wrong? Because she could hear it, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, as men, we're good at masking that though. That's not always the best thing, but we're good at hiding it. And like you said, you're social, so like you can cover it up quick because you know so many people. You can talk, and a lot of times isolation could look different for many people.
Yeah.
And for you, you said it was very much mentally, and mental isn't, you can't see it. So did people notice it?
Yeah. So my mom is my best friend. I'm a mama's boy, 100%, 100% mama's boy. We talk every day. So yeah, she was definitely in the loop of what was going on with me, and me just trying to navigate everyday life. Being in a foreign city, being in a completely foreign environment, foreign circumstance. That helped me a lot. That helped me a lot. Being able to have somebody to relay all of that stuff to, and then obviously like my boy Dejan, like my right hand when it comes to all my artistic like endeavors, like that really helped me a lot too, because like you said, community is everything, man. Like we're not meant to do this life alone, you know what I mean? And they were definitely aware of what was going on and where my heart was and my head was, and I mean I don't know how I would have got through it, to be honest, if I didn't have them, like for real. Like I probably would have been in a very deep depression, and I probably wouldn't have been as adamant towards doing my music and doing my my design and doing my treatment, right? Because I just wouldn't have seen any point.
Yeah.
But since I had that community, right, it definitely made that period of isolation more worthwhile and more bearable,
because they reminded you the end goal. And there's no end to life, and until obviously it's over, but they try to keep you on the right path, and they knew you did a good job of telling them at one point in your life, this is what I want to do. And a lot of times in isolation that can get blurry. You can forget your true goals. I think one good thing about you is you knew you had other hobbies. You knew what you wanted to do outside of football, which is great because a lot of athletes don't know, and they have to figure that out. And I think that's a good thing that you already knew that. And like I said, community is something that can help keep you on track. So during this isolation, you mentioned a lot about fashion and music, and I want to dive deep into that because it seems like that's something that definitely helped you get out of the situation you're in. Because once again, you're up in Toronto, a foreign country, foreign city. You just got cut. So they just basically told you momentarily your dream is done. It's over momentarily while you were hurt. So you're already down. They kicked you even further. But you had positive hopes because the community had around you. So let's talk more about this fashion and the music, and how did that help you get out of this isolation, and how did you further that while you were going through this?
Yeah, so I mean, I believe I was put here to create. I believe wholeheartedly that is my purpose, and I remember when I was in Atlanta in my apartment. This was like, I think it was the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. I had just got back from the spring league, and I remember it was just like, guy had just like stopped me in my apartment. I just got chills, and it was like my son, I put you here to create. And yeah, so I mean, when I was in, even before when I got to Toronto, me and my boy Dejan, we had kept trying to devise this plan of us, meeting up with our other boys in LA who were really like 10 toes into the fashion, the scene, right? Like doing graphic design and like and creative directing, different brands, etc. And and then we got other boys in that really are like doing it when it comes to the music and the production and all that stuff. So like we had a plan, to really get out to LA at some point. We just didn't know how that was going to look or when it was going to happen. And obviously when I got hurt in Toronto, I brought my whole studio up there. Okay. So when I got hurt, I just had so much more time to really, devote to that, and it really helped me because, when you're in situations like that, especially when you're isolated, you gotta keep your mind active. You gotta keep your body active. You gotta be active. You gotta be doing something. If you're just stagnant and if you're just idle, not doing nothing, that's when you start to get. That's when the devil starts to put crazy thoughts in your head, like, oh, I'm alone, I'm not nothing, I'm worthless, I'm this, I'm that. And that's when people really start to get depressed, right? And I'm just so fortunate that I had the community and that and I had these passions and these true loves that I was able to really, practice on a daily basis. So that really, really helped me. Because I can't imagine how it would have been if I would just got treatment and just came home all day and just did nothing, just sat around, just looked at the ceiling. You know what I mean? That was the most music I had ever done in my life in a short period of time. It was like, I think like 3 months or so, 2-3 months. But yeah, so we have, I told you about Louvet and More. We have a mood board page that's actually the inspiration behind it. It's called Never Too Much.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just anything that inspires us, whether it be, entertainment, design, fashion, auto, right? Could be cars, could be, you name it. It's got its own, color palette, blacks, whites, beiges, browns, those earth nudes.
Okay, so basically you have one of those pages where you go to it and it's telling you what you're gonna feel. When you come to this page, the way these color schemes are set up, the way everything's coming together, like this is how you're gonna feel, and this is how our brand is. And I think that's dope, especially when you have a brand and you're telling people what your brand's about, so you can already find your market, your niche, and everything like that. It just goes forward from there. Yeah, so just go ahead and tell us about, keep telling us about the mood board and the brand and how that went.
Yeah, to be honest, the mood board has really that page has really been like 4 different pages. Like it first started out as like I can't even remember what it had started out as for real, but it's always been some type of mood board, right? Whether it been like vintage, like rare, pictures or images of whoever, could be celebrities, could be people from movies, could be significant figures in the entertainment industry, or figures in politics, or anybody that has some sort of like following or whatever, and then it just kind of morphed as time went along, right? It just kind of morphed. This was probably like, I think we had started it the end of 2019. Yeah, we had made a decision like, bro, we need this page to be the inspiration behind Louvet and More. That way, once we build it up to where we want it to be, we can basically take all the following and all the supporters that we have on that page, and basically just traffic them to Louvet and More.
Exactly.
So yeah, and it had got to a point where when I was in Toronto, right, I'm getting treatment every day, and I'm doing the music, and I'm doing design, and I'm putting this mood board together and all this stuff with my boy, and I wasn't seeing any feedback. I wasn't hearing no feedback from the team. They had said this, that, and the third, but I wasn't seeing it. And I had just prayed to God. I was just like, man, like God, like I just can you just please show me signs? Like, you don't even have to tell me concretely what you want me to do. Just give me signs, and I'll make that decision based off of what you give me, right? And I had got 3 signs. It was crazy. Somebody had said something about my music that I had no idea they knew, because I really wasn't even publicizing my music like that. It was really private. Like, I have a whole music page, right, and it's private. Like, them people don't even know that I play football for real. Like, they just they see me as like an artist for real.
That's huge, because I think a lot of people don't realize who's watching, and I think social media is a powerful tool because that simple fact, like, people can watch you that you do not know, and you motivate a lot of people a lot of times.
It was on my personal page on Instagram, and they had said something to me, and they had sent me. Actually, no, it was a message. It was somebody had texted me and sent me a link to one of my songs. It was like, bro, like this goes crazy. Like, blah blah. And I was like, dang, bro, like I didn't even realize like you knew about it. Like,
exactly.
And it was just such a crazy feeling. So I was just like, damn, like that's definitely a sign. Like, that's definitely not a coincidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the second sign was somebody had saw. We had samples made for Louvet and More. We had made some trucker hats.
Okay.
And I think it was somebody back home from Irmo, South Carolina, and they had the hat, and I was like, oh shit, like how'd you get the hat? You know what I'm saying? I think one of my homeboys that we had given a couple samples to had put them on, and I was like, damn, like I didn't even know you knew about it like that. You know what I mean? So it was just like, it was just crazy to me, like just how coincidental it was, and like the timing of it. I was like, oh yeah, nah, that's definitely a second sign.
Facts.
So I told myself, I was like, bro, like if I get another sign, like that's gonna be it. That's gonna tell me to get up on out of here and take my ass to LA and really roll the dice, really put all my chips out there and really see what happens, because you know people die every day. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be in my 30s and my 40s looking back like, dang, like what if I would have put my all into music and design, you know, my artistic endeavors? What if I would have put my all into it like I did football for however long? You know what I'm saying? Like how would that look? What would have happened? Like, so I told myself, like, bro, I need to give this like a fair chance. Like I really do, if I really want to see the most from it, right? So I remember clear as day. My boy Dejan, he had called me. Mind you, he was in San Fran.
Okay.
And I'm on the East Coast, so he had called me, and he was like, this was like 8 in the morning, so it's 5 a.m. over there. So I knew he had been up all night. You know what I'm saying? Like that boy stay up, but
working.
Yeah, but he called me. He's like, bro, like I'm tripping, bro. Like go check the page. I said, huh? He said, bro, go check the page. Like you'll never guess who followed us, bro. Like just check it, make sure I'm not tripping. I checked it, bro. Pharrell had followed us, bro.
Okay.
Bro. Pharrell had followed us on Never Too Much on our mood board page, and it was just like, you know, maybe to some people like that might not seem like too crazy, because you know it's a mood board page, right? Like we're just posting a bunch of pictures that, you know, inspire, you know, us and inspire the brand. But that was like, you know, just the sequence of the time and everything I had been to up to that point. It was just like that was the third sign for me.
Exactly.
That was what I needed, right, to tell me like, hey, like it's time to do this thing, because you might not
get opportunity again.
Yeah, you could die tomorrow, right? So,
and for y'all don't know, he's talking about Pharrell Williams, you know, Neptune's duo. I'm talking about legendary producer,
fashion icon,
all of this. And this is a mood board page for his brand, which is a fashion brand, and he's also a musician. So like, that's something huge for him, man. It's like, and that's an incredible third sign. Like that's a sign that a lot of people don't get, but you're fortunate enough to get that sign, man.
Yeah.
So you talk about Pharrell, how he follows your page, and you know we just talked about how much of an icon is he, and you do music as well. So like, how did it feel?
Yeah, I mean it was just, bro, it was super encouraging, right? Because for so long, you know, with the music and with the, you know, with the mood board pages and all the other pages that we had, right, with the brand and even like my music page, it was just like, it was like confirmation, right, that somebody had been paying attention. Somebody had, you know, there's always an eye in the sky, right?
Always.
And it was just like confirmation that, you know, we had been doing something right. Like our efforts weren't just for fun. Like it wasn't just, you know, willy-nilly, like we're gonna do this and just, you know, nothing's gonna come out of it. You know, it was definitely like I said, it was confirmation that, yo, like y'all are doing something right. Like keep chasing it, keep, you know, putting the same amount of work, dig deeper, put more into it, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, that stuff doesn't happen like every day, you know what I mean?
A lot of people will never get that moment, because I know you always see an analogy of, you know, two lines and they're digging on the ground. You know, one person gives up digging his tunnel right before he reaches the goal, and the next person strikes one more time, he reaches the goal. A lot of people never reach the goal because they give up, you know. They say, oh, this isn't for me, or they put a timetable on things. They don't achieve whatever goal they set in that timetable. To them, it's over. So it's good that you got that, and I'm sure that helped a lot. All right, so you're in Canada. The teams, you know, they released you. They said they're bringing you back, but you haven't heard anything. They're not doing any actions. So you decided to focus on music and your fashion for a little bit. You get this notification that Pharrell followed you. What was the next step?
Yeah, I mean, I had told my boy Dejan, like right then and there, like, yeah, it's up. Like, I'm leaving Canada, like, immediately. I went home to Cleveland. My folks had just moved to Cleveland, so I had drove back to Cleveland, was with them for a couple of days, went down to my apartment in Atlanta, and our homeboy Christian Felder, he was gonna do some marketing for us while we was out in LA. So it was us three, and then my boy Lou, Hunter Lewis, who really, like, he's fire with the design, the graphic design. He's been out in LA for a couple years now. But yeah, we made a plan. Like as soon as I had got that third sign, and Pharrell followed us, I think it was like it was less than 2 weeks. It might have been like 10, 12 days. We was out in LA. So I was in Atlanta. Phil had, you know, drove to me, and then we drove across the country to LA, and yeah, and that's really when I realized, you know, what I had just experienced, what I had just went through. You know, I really went through a period of isolation, and I'm not gonna lie, it might have been a hint or two of depression mingled in there too, just because of just I had all these plans, right, of being in Toronto and this and that and the third, and coming off I had such good momentum from the spring league, and just for that to happen, it was just like, it was so like demoralizing, you know what I'm saying? But it was also liberating at the same time, because when I had made that decision, right, it was just like, when I made the decision to leave and to really chase my dreams with the music, with the fashion, really get up and move and head out to LA and really chase it. It was a super liberating feeling, because like for a couple months I felt like I was damn near stuck in Canada. You know what I mean?
A lot of people feel stuck, and like I said, man, it's such a blessing that you knew and you had, one, the community around you, and two, you had them to remind you the goals you've already had set, precedent to you going to Canada. That's definitely good, because a lot of people often get stuck and they don't know their next move. And fortunate enough, you knew your next move. You was blessed enough to have the community around you and to have your mindset already on what you could do outside of football. It's just a good thing that you knew what else you could do. And like you said, it was liberating, because you wasn't going to let something you can't control, i.e. football in Toronto, signing you again, affect your life. You knew you had to move on, because you knew there was something more. And like I said, it's good that you knew what to move on to. And a lot of people, sometimes they let things they can't control everything about their life, their emotions, their mental, everything. And you can't let that happen. That's the isolation part, where you have to fight through, because once you get through it, just like you said, it was liberating. You got to LA. What's going on next?
Yeah, so we touched down in LA, and we was in Chinatown. we had a little Airbnb in Chinatown. But yeah, we were just getting busy, bro. We were linking with our boys, Lou and Jack, who really, like, I can tell they are 10 toes when it comes to like graphic designing for brands out there, being creative directors for, up and coming artists, brands, you name it, right? So we were just getting busy. Just networking, right? It's another brand out there called Fuck You Want, and it's ran by these twins, and they're super lit, bro. They're super fire. But they also do music too. Okay. And it's another one of our boys out there. His name's Life Harris. He does music too. He's cold. But whole time, Dej, he had produced a track for Life and the Twins back in, I think this is in the summer. Okay. So it was just crazy how it all came full circle, how we was all able to really link, and really do it like for real. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like really do the music and really be like
together.
Like really, yeah.
Be really, that team to push this brand, because at this point, like you said, Toronto didn't pick you up. And you're not letting your life stop. You got LA. Right. And now your feet on the ground, you're going full steam ahead. The team's all together, man. And when the team comes together, magical things can happen. So tell us what happened next, man. We want to know what's up with the brand and with the music. What you guys do out in LA?
Yeah, man. So we was getting busy. We was shooting. We was running up the TikTok. Just trying to get content, right? Trying to get that same type of, basically the same type of mood that we had on Never Too Much and Louis and More. We really wanted to encapsulate that in TikTok too, because TikTok is, it's ridiculous, bro. You could blow up overnight off that, based on the algorithm and stuff like that. So we was just shooting, getting content. We was obviously going crazy with the music. We was making songs every day, man. It was like football camp for music. Like it was lit, man. And we was, our boys, right, Lou and Jack, because they were so deep in the design and fashion industry, bro, we was showing up to different after parties of different up and coming and established brands out in LA, and just meeting people that are like this one guy, he's the creative director for, they're called Entire Studios. Okay. And he used to work, his name's Dylan, he used to work for Yeezy, he used to work for Kanye, he used to design for Yeezy, for real. And yeah, we went to his, because of Lou, we went to his after party and just got to network with people and just mingle, and just that's the crazy thing about LA is just it's the mecca of the arts, right? Exactly. So everybody that's in it is hungry, bro. They're hungry and they trying to they're trying to network, they're trying to build up, they're trying to collab. Like it's unlike any other, bro. Like it really is.
So you just out there once again, just meeting people, networking, and building a bigger community, so you can help this brand grow and flourish to the top. Where's the brand at now?
Where we're at right now is we basically have gotten all of the not all the samples, but a lot of the samples that we've wanted in terms of different types of clothing, whether it be like tees or hats, right? We started with truckers, and now we're working on another specific cut type of hat that we're working on right now. So yeah, we're working on getting that sample together.
Okay.
And then we can really start to push it. I mean, when we were in LA, we were we were talking about the brand. We were going to different manufacturers in the fashion district, looking at different fabrics, looking at different blanks.
Hands
what I'm
on.
saying? Just really in it, really just digging, really like that was like the most liberating, like I said, it was like one of the most liberating times of my life, because everything that I wanted to do, like I was actually able to do when it came to like my music and in the brand and the fashion. Like I was able to like to do it.
Exactly.
Like I want to do this music. Okay, we all can link up and we can make this record right now. We can make this beat right now and we can hop on. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we want to do something with the brand. Cool. We all link up. We do a little design. Make a little tech pack. Cool. We go to the manufacturer, pick out a blank, pick out a fabric, and go from there
And get it done.
So we was really like into it, and it really, really gave us some foresight and some direction of like where we want to go with the brand. But yeah, so like I said, right now, we got the website, we got the samples, on the way, and based off of our satisfaction from the samples, we're gonna definitely push it, release it, and I'm not sure if we're gonna do pre-order or if it's gonna be like you go to the website and just buy it. But once we have solidified with the manufacturer, our satisfaction with the sample,
Yeah.
then we'll figure all that stuff out. But
Okay, yeah. You ain't gotta, we ain't gotta put a time date on it, but we know you're working.
Right.
That's for sure. And everybody's watching. They're definitely gonna be, looking out for it, and ready for it, and excited for it too,
Yeah.
man. So I want to talk about how right now we are in Birmingham, Alabama, and you are running back for the Philadelphia Stars, and man, you're balling. You're balling, man.
Trying to, man.
6 tutties, right? 6-7 tutties.
Yeah.
Almost 400 yards in rushing. That's incredible. And as we think about, what we're talking about, the accidental isolation, when you were in isolation, you were playing football up in Toronto. And then you went, 2 years?
yeah,
Without playing a football game, and now you're here doing what you're doing. And that's all because when you were in Toronto, you told yourself, like, I can't control anything about this. But what I can control is push my other passions, fashion, music. And you did a good job of that. You went to LA, and you said you're not letting outside noise get in the way. You're going to go to LA, and we're going to push what I can push. So I mean, and you was in LA late 21. Now it's early 22, and you're back, man. Like we said earlier in the podcast, like everything's a cycle in life. And some football at one moment you thought was done. So you said, I'm not going to pout about it. I'm not going to sit and soak on it. I'm going to go and do what I can do and control what I can control. But now you're back, man. Just like the cycle of life, bro. You're back and you're playing football and you're balling. Go ahead. Tell us how it feels to be back.
yeah. I was in LA with my boy Brian Scott, and we had became friends after the spring league. Just kept in touch. A lot of guys here, right? You'll see a lot of familiar faces here from the spring league. I think that's one of the real cool things about this league. But yeah, so I remember Brian. He kept telling me about the USFL. Like, yo, like, this league's coming up, and I'm about to be the quarterback. Like, I want you to be my running back. I'm just like, bro, like, I don't know, bro. Like, I'm kind of done with football for now, bro. Like this is what I really want to do, like the music and the fashion. Like, I really want to keep going with this. Like, I gave football all I could give, and it gave me, whatever it gave me, in return.
And
so,
I think I asked you. I think I DM'd you. So for y'all don't know, me and Matt, we're both from Irmo. We didn't go to the same elementary school. We kind of grew up together a little bit, and we knew of each other. So Matt's someone I looked up to, going through high school, and there's a good bit of people from South Carolina, but from Columbia specific, there's not too many people that either one have made it, and or two come back, you see him again. So him being 1 or 2 years older than me, I seen what he was doing, man. So I think I did reach out to you once or twice and ask what was next for football, and you might have said you were done. I can't really remember, but you might have said it. But like you said, that's what you told him, and then so tell us how you got here.
Bro, it's crazy. Like, I remember we was having a drink one night, and he was just telling me like, bruh, it was me, him, Dave, fell. We was all just having a good time, just eating some food, drinking, whatever. And he was like, man, you gotta be my running back, man. I was like, bruh, like, football, I got a bad taste in my mouth, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really want to think about ball right now. And I remember he just told me, just come throw with me one day. We're gonna do some one-on-ones, whatever. And I remember saying, all right, fuck it, like, whatever. I remember I was like up to like 4 a.m. I was drunk as shit. And I remember I had pulled up and bro, I was just going crazy. Like, we was doing one-on-ones, and I was just running routes and all this stuff. Like, like just nothing had skipped a beat. Like, my footwork and like my hands, like all that stuff. Like, and that was like an indication to me, like, like maybe I can do this again. Yeah. And that's when I told him, like, you know what, like, yeah, let's get the ball rolling. Like, let's just see what happens. Yeah. So from there, I had went to Cleveland for Christmas, and which actually turned into me. I said, if I'm really gonna give football another shot, like, I gotta be training again. I gotta be doing this. So I ended up, training in Cleveland for a minute. Ended up working in Cleveland at this athletic performance center, training kids, coaching kids, with weight training, strength and conditioning, football, you name it. Yeah. And I was with my family when I had got the call that I was drafted, and it was just such a crazy. I didn't even know how to feel, bro, because I was so numb. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was still numb to it, but it was just like, wow, like, this whole thing really came full circle. Cause if you would have asked me a couple months prior, bro, I like would have swore to you that I was done. Like, I would have swore I was never playing ball again. But the whole time, like, my brothers and some of my family around me. Even I remember when I was telling one of my trainers up in Toronto who do my rehab. I remember the day I left and I had tears in my eyes because I had seen them people every day for like a month and a half, bro. Like, really got to know them people, like hours at a time. And I told him I was done, and it was just like, it was a crazy thing. But one of the trainers up there told me, like, you're not done. You're not done. Like, you'll be back. Don't worry. People know, man. Yeah. So it was just crazy how it came full circle, man. Like, like you said, life has a tendency, of repeating itself. And it was just like I said, I didn't even know how to feel, but I was just super, super grateful and super, super blessed to be in that position, because at that point I had known that I was that isolation, that period of isolation had served its purpose.
So as we close up, one of the things I want to do with this podcast is not tell anyone how to handle their isolation, because everyone's different. Everyone's isolation is different. But what I like to do is give people tools to help solve their problems, because you can use one tool for as many problems as you want, and you can use a lot of tools for one problem. So what are your biggest takeaways from your accident isolation? What do you think helped you the most?
Yeah, so the biggest things that helped me the most, first and foremost, just the community.
Yeah.
Having my boy Dave's, having my mom's, and just, I'm a very, very, very spiritual, very, my relationship with God is, is first and foremost. Like, I can't do nothing right if I don't consult my Lord, if I don't consult my Lord, if I don't, ask, right? And so I'm just so thankful, right, that I had that, to really reach out to and to really use, in a dire situation, a dire need. And two, just, never be, what really helped me was, like, I had told myself that, because a lot of times in life, people don't like to, people like to make the, the comfortable decision, or people like to make the decisions that aren't as, hard, or the decisions that aren't as difficult, or the decisions that, like, you already know what's about to happen, right? You have some certainty of what the outcome is going to be. You have some security. Whereas with the decision I was made, I didn't know what was about to happen. I just say, look, here's all my chips. Let's do it. And if I lose them, cool, I'm going to get them right back. You know what I'm saying? So I think in life, no matter what type of situation, circumstance you're in, what sort of isolation you may be experiencing, you know, obviously community is huge, right? You cannot do right. God says, there is strength in numbers, right?
Yes.
There is strength in numbers, right? And that is so true. Gotta have a community. You gotta have people that you can talk to about this stuff, because you can't allow yourself to let all these thoughts and everything that you have just to fester inside, and you're not getting feedback, or you're not like getting it out, right? And then, like I said, secondly, don't be afraid. And I hate saying don't be afraid, but I would say practice being bold, practice being confident, practice taking a crazy risk that you would never even consider, normally taking, just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Because my thing is, and this is crazy, because all this has come back to me. When I was in LA, I realized that the only actions that go in vain are inactions, right? So if you're not doing anything, if you're not being proactive towards, your circumstance or whatever it may be,
intentional.
If you're not being intentional, like you don't even have to know how to do something, right? Or how you're gonna get A, B, and C done, right? But if you think a certain action, or you think a certain effort or activity is gonna get you towards where you want to be, do it, right? Write a couple, have a plan. Write a couple different things down that you think will help you reach your goal, right? And shoot, whole time you might not get to the destination that you want to get to at that time, but because you were adamant and active,
you're further than where you started.
You're further where you started, and other doors are going to open because it's literally science. It's physics, right? There's a reaction to every action. And I was learning in LA, like, bro, like, if I link with these people, or if I, make these moves, these things are going to happen.
Exactly.
And so that's I think that's the biggest thing about, when people are in situations where they're alone, right? Whether it be mentally or physically, the biggest thing is just that fear, right? The fear of like the unknown, and the fear of like not knowing what to do, the uncertainty. But it's crazy the amount of things that happen when you just say, all right, like screw it, like I'm gonna just do something, I'm gonna do this.
Control what you can control.
Control. Make a decision, and then something's gonna happen. Something's gonna come from it, and it might even be the whole time might even better than what you had initially planned to be. You know what I'm saying?
Just like when you was in Toronto, like you went up there for football.
Yeah.
That's it. Things happen that was out of your control. Injuries, can't control it. Two, then release, you can't control it. But you were proactive, and you knew some other things you want to do, so you brought your whole studio with you. Whole time you're rehabbing, and you're being intentional with, hey, I can't play football right now, I can't control that, but I can control me doing something. And that something was something that you already, like I said, it was blessed that you already knew what it was, but that something was doing something. And what did that do? That opened up doors, because you started focusing on your mood board more. You started focusing on music more. Pharrell followed you. That's a sign that wouldn't have happened if you didn't control what you could,
right,
and do some actions. Then you went to LA. Then you met all these people, and now you're here playing football again because you met Brian Scott in LA. You know what I'm saying? So all these things occurred because you did something. You was intentional with doing something. And I think a big takeaway I can take from you is like, just because you have your eyes set on one thing, that doesn't mean other things can't happen.
Exactly.
You're back playing football after you thought you were done because you was intentional about your brand and about your music. And you met someone like Brian Scott, and he brought you back to football, which at the end of the day was your one true love in the beginning. Now you're happy again. You're out of the isolation. I'm not saying you're perfect, but now you learned something from it. And I think that's the biggest takeaway with this podcast, is that everyone's going to go through in isolation. It may look different, but you have to. The beauty of it is you'll learn something from it. Your story is definitely inspiring, man. I just want to thank you coming out, being on podcast. For everybody out there who was inspired by Matt's story and everything, I'm gonna let him give you his social media, even his brand, his brand stuff. I'm gonna let him give all his tags. I'll also put it, in the link or description below. But go ahead, tell everybody your social media is, all of it.
Yeah, so you can follow me Instagram. It's a MJAYC and the number 2. You can follow my brand Louve Amor. It's LUVEAMOR. You can follow my music page. I'm just gonna name them all.
Yeah, put them all, bro. That's what we're here for.
It's a District Mela, MELA. It's all one word, District Mela. You can follow our mood board page, Never Too Much, which is the inspiration behind Louve Amor. It's Never Too Much, all one word. Just never has 2 R's in it at the end. And yeah.
That's it, man. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, likewise, man. Appreciate you having me, bro. For real.